So I'm gonna be having different steps located where you can skip to the different parts. So I'm gonna start with beginning of beginners of the backside boneless technique, which is learning the foot positioning, the movement, where you take your foot off, how you put your weight, how you keep your back foot on, and then we're gonna move to doing it on banks, to smaller ramps, and then we're gonna go to the regular ramps and telling you how to do that. So before we jump into this trick tip, let's just discuss what exactly is a backside boneless. What's the difference between a regular boneless, a beam plant, a backside boneless? I'm gonna be telling you that right now before we get into this trick tip. Okay, so for example, a lot of people get really confused about the grab tricks when they're starting to learn them, so let me just break down a couple of them for you. So what a boneless is when your front foot right here comes off of the board and you grab with this hand, this would be your back hand, on the indie grab position. You grab your backhand onto the front board, you lift up, and then you put it back down. That is a regular boneless. Now a beam plant is when you take your front foot off, you pop it up, and you grab melon, lifting it, dropping it back on the ground, and then you put your foot back on. So obviously as we're going along, a backside boneless would be a backside grab, which is a melon grab, a lot of people would call it, which is where you take your front hand and you put it behind your body and grab the board in the center. Not at the top, in the center. Now the backside boneless is the reverse of the regular boneless. So if you're regular footed, your front foot will go to the left of your board. If you're goofy footed, your front foot will go to the right of the board while you're grabbing indie grab. That is a regular boneless grab. So reverse that, it is a backside boneless grab, is when you grab backside, which is melon, and you take your front foot and you put it reverse on the other side. So you grab backside and you take off your front foot on the right of the skateboard. That is a backside boneless. And if you are goofy footed, you take this hand, your front hand, put it on the back, and you take off the front foot going to the left of the skateboard like that. That would be a goofy version of the backside boneless. Take for example how I'm standing. This is goofy backside boneless. You lift up like that. This is regular backside boneless. You lift up like that. If you're new to backside bonelesses, welcome. It is a very, very fun trick. What we're gonna do first is we're going to learn how to get your foot off of the skateboard. You are standing on your skateboard. Very simple positioning. And what you wanna do is to learn how to start off is you wanna use your back foot, whether you're goofy or regular, your back foot will be on the bolts in order for you to have positioning. You're gonna wanna bend down, grab behind you. You're gonna be very, very low to your skateboard, very low. And almost like a catcher stance, like in baseball. You're gonna be grabbing your backhand and you're slowly gonna inch your front foot all the way to the edge of your skateboard and then just move it off. And there you are, you're standing almost like a weird looking spider. Now that you've practiced that a couple times, you've inched your foot off, you've gotten to the point where you're able to kind of lift your foot, place it on the ground. What'll make this trick a lot easier is if you take your front foot and instead of putting it out this way, you pull it toward your back end. See that? That's a lot easier to do because your body isn't moving this way, it's moving this way. It's easier. It's like a yoga move. Once you figure that out, all you have to do is you have to do it in one motion. So boom, down, bonk. There you are, you're in this position. And what you do is you just lift, this foot pops on the ground while this hand pulls up, and then you just push, you set it back down, you step back on the board. Now that is like the bare minimum of the backside boneless movement. That is the very beginning and the start of how you're going to learn this trick. Now that you've learned that little slow position, you practice that for a couple hours, really gotten the hang of it. You're going to do that same thing, so you're gonna grab the backside, you're gonna take your foot off, you're gonna pull it up, but this time you're actually going to lift your skateboard. You wanna go low to high, but you wanna make sure that that back foot stays on the board. You do not want it coming off. Then you just drop it back and you step back on. What I've noticed that most people struggle with on a backside boneless is actually getting your front foot back on the board, and that's all about practice. It's all about practice and confidence. It's a lot of confidence because you're gonna usually get your front foot back on, but it's kind of in your head of being scary, you know? So in order to combat the scariness, it's all about practice, and then you will get confidence just from that practice. You're gonna slowly do it more, so you are able to do it all in one movement confidently. So eventually you'll be able to go like this, jump and catch it. So you'll jump up and you'll pull your front foot back up to your chest area, and you're gonna be able to put your foot right back on. It's just like how you're doing it lower, it's just you're jumping this time. It's the exact same motion. Now that you've properly learned how to do that, all you have to learn how to do is do it rolling. So you're gonna be rolling forward, whichever direction you are, goofy or regular, you're gonna be going from the standing up position, going down, grabbing, popping, dropping, and rolling forward. So now that you've got that down, let's practice it on a mellow bank. Find a very small curb cut in your neighborhood or any little bank at a skate park and just practice it on that next, because what you're gonna do next is you're gonna be doing the turning motion. As you can see, I have a very, very tiny bank here, super mellow, really relaxed. When I put my foot back on my board, I'm not gonna be going at a crazy speed. I'm gonna be able to stand back up and relax and ride down the ramp peacefully. What I'm gonna be learning now is just the turning motion. Now the secret to the turning motion is you go up like you're gonna do a regular, boom, but instead of putting your foot straight, put it a little sideways, put it diagonally. And so when you lift up, lean this direction with your body. Your shoulders will wanna turn that way already. It'll be really easy. You're pivoting around on your foot. Pop up, you can just turn right toward your foot. And then you just drop back on. No matter how angled you are on the bank, if you're completely sideways, if you're straight, no matter what, you just wanna start turning your body more and more until it feels more comfortable. Hand on the board, foot on the side, pivot, up, and drop back down. And then you were just gonna ride straight forward. Remember to take your time, practice slow, go low on the ramp, slowly go higher, slowly increase the speed of how quickly you turn the board, how quickly you jump back onto the board. But at first, just take it slow, memorize the steps, and get it into your muscle memory, and it will work, I promise. For the next step, you're gonna wanna find a quarter pipe of any type. It's better if it's wider, just because then you don't have to land going straight up and straight down. You can kind of go at an angle and then slowly work your way going straight up and straight down. So if you can find a wider quarter pipe, that would be perfect for this method. I'd recommend this one a lot like how you did it on the bank. You're gonna wanna start slow and low, and you're gonna keep going at angles until you can finally turn your body more. The thing that's gonna be scaring you is you're gonna think that you're gonna land and you're gonna just take off quickly. Once you get your muscle memory and your body adjusted, you will slowly start to not fear that as much when you go low to high. Don't just start going right up here. Start really low and work your way up step by step, whether it takes days, weeks, it does not matter. Take your time, take your own process at this trick. There's no rush, it's all about having fun. So you start low, up, and down. Remember to keep your knees super bent, up and down. Now, as time goes on, you can go higher. Until you're eventually able to reach the coping. Now that's the part that's gonna freak you out a little bit. The reason it's gonna freak you out a little bit is because you're gonna be looking, and instead of looking at a ramp behind you, there's not gonna be a ramp behind you. You're gonna be on the top of the coping, and you're just gonna be looking straight down. You're gonna think you're gonna clip, you're gonna think all different ways. However, if you use this method of slowly starting low and low, it should feel a lot more comfortable and a little less scary to do. Now let's take a look at what it looks like when you first do it at the top of the coping. Real secret to doing it this way, which is the beginning way, which is early grabbing, is you want to just really focus on watching where your front foot lands on the ground. It's really important for you to really watch your front foot. That is where all your weight is going to be going the entire time. You are balancing like a flamingo on one foot, so focus on where that lands on the ground, on the coping, on every part of this trick, because that is the most important part of it. After you've been practicing and you've made it this far in the tutorial, you've really gotten it down, you can get kind of your foot on the coping, we're gonna be learning how to do it without early grabbing. There's nothing wrong with early grabbing. If you like the early grab way, then there you go, you've learned the backside boneless. Good, that's super sick. But if you wanna learn it the non-early grab way, welcome to this part of the video. Let's discuss the actual airing out to judo part of this. Airing out to judo portion of this is fairly simple. If you've been doing the early grab one, it's a lot like that. You want to just stay really close to your skateboard. So practice, practice, practice. Stay super close to your skateboard. When you air out, it's gonna take a little bit to be able to keep your back foot on. Remember, the lower you are to your board as you're going up the ramp, the closer you are to grabbing it. So if you're really upright and you're going up like you're gonna do a 50-50, you're probably gonna have a lot more difficulty grabbing the actual skateboard backside when you're in the air. What I'm gonna show you right here in post-editing is my body being very low to my board, so when I launch up, I can grab it, and it's gonna take a couple tries for you to be able to grab it and keep your back foot on. But remember, it's all process. It's all about process and muscle memory. So let me just show you, for example. Remember to get low, just like this, and boom, you're in a position where you are able to stay hovered over the center of the coping, right? When you're hovered over the center of the coping, your board is gonna be very like that way to you. You want to lean forward in order to turn it more toward the coping. Once you've figured out that, now is the part of jumping back into the ramp. And that, honestly, there's not really much I can help with that. It's just confidence. It's a lot of confidence. You can go from standing still and doing it at first, start at the top of banks, start at the top of ramps, doesn't matter. It's all about practice and confidence. If you were able to early grab at the top of the coping, it is going to feel the same exact way. Don't jump to flat. Lean forward. When you're in the backside boneless position, be leaning forward and just drop back into the ramp. Just let go of the board and it should go right to your foot if you've been practicing the early grab way. Don't hesitate. A lot of times you'll get to this position right here, which is the upright position, and you'll be hesitant because you're gonna be standing straight up. The goal is to lean forward, just jump off and jump forward. It should feel just like the early grab way. When you do it, your body's gonna want to start standing straight up rather than leaning forward into the ramp, because leaning forward into the ramp is the entire secret to like being able to pull your body weight back into it. Because if you're straight up on top, it's gonna be a lot more scary because you're gonna just jumping from one to the other. But if you're leaning forward, you're just dropping. If you're having trouble jumping back into the ramp from the top of the deck, go to tail, go to disaster, just like this. And that is my tips for backside bonelesses. I'm sorry if there's anything I missed. If there is and you're struggling with anything in particular, please leave a comment down below and I will try to help you as soon as possible. If you are new here, I'm going to be posting a lot of vlog and skate montages. I post twice a week, and I would love for you guys to be a part of it because it's a fun time here. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you don't want to, that's completely fine as well. I will see you around no matter what, I hope. So later guys, stay alive, have some fun doing backside bonelesses. Later guys.